Good morning and you're very welcome to St. John's Lighthouse in County Down. I'm continuing with my series of vlogs of Irish lighthouses. We've travelled up from the south of Ireland to vlog St. John's Lighthouse. It is one of the more distinctive lighthouses in Ireland. It was originally built in 1844 but was a lot smaller and was coloured white. One of the reasons that St. John's is so distinctive is because of its black and orange or yellow bands. The black was added in 1902 and it was black and white then for quite a while, the zebra colours, until 1954 when they added the two yellow bands. St. John's Point Lighthouse is found on the south coast of County Down, 10 miles to the east of Newcastle, 9 miles south of Downpatrick and 4 miles to the southwest of the beautiful fishing village of Ardglass. It wasn't always the height it is now. It is 44 metres high. Back in the 1880s they increased its height, and on top of that too it is Ireland's highest on-land lighthouse. It's not as high as Fastnet, which is Ireland's highest lighthouse, but it certainly is quite impressive when you stand up close to it. I'm here quite a distance from it. I'm on the lead-in road to St. John's Point. It is, like most of the lighthouses in Ireland, it's a dead end, and obviously this road comes from the Ardglass direction and is quite a narrow carriage. I'm standing here because I'm going to use this particular part of the road as a lead-in line to the lighthouse itself. Now what you will notice is that there are quite an amount of, there's just one set of telephone wires and electricity cables which are leading into the lighthouse, and unfortunately they're obstructing the shot that I'm going to take from the actual scene itself, but I can get rid of those in post. Okay, I'm standing on the roadway leading into St. John's Point lighthouse at the moment. I'm using a 24-105 lens. I have a polarizer on it. I will take the shot at different focal lengths. I'll start off with maybe 24, 30-ish, work into a 50, and then up closer to maybe 80 to 100, so that I get a range of different lengths. It also gives a different dynamic to the shot. Sometimes it's not really easy to judge how good a shot is or which one is the better focal length until you get home, see it on a screen, and then it becomes a lot more apparent. You may have a rough idea when you're taking the shot. So I'm going to hand hold it because I'm shooting at this particular point of the morning. It is whatever, probably about 9:30 now that I look at my watch. But anyway, 9:30 in the morning. Sun has been up for the last maybe 3.5 hours, and I'm up to 1/80th of a second f9, and I also have a polarizer on because that sun thankfully is giving a nice light. Something we didn't expect today, and in fact the weather forecast has told us that it's going to be a very dull day all day, so we're grateful for that bit of sun. And on top of that too, because of that, the polarizer will take any glare out of the actual shot itself. So I'm also using the focal point on the Sony and to focus on the actual lighthouse itself. So my focal point has been adjusted to the lighthouse, and I'm taking the different, zooming in and zooming out just for a bit of variation. Obviously I have to move my focal point on in my shot. I don't want to take in too much of the sky. The sky itself on that particular shot is quite bland. So what I'm going to do is take in an awful lot, well, the road, the leading line is the road. So that's what I'll take in. I'm also going to use a famous Cork supermodel called Darren Lane, and he's going to step in because there are some lovely rocks to the right hand side and to the left hand side of this particular roadway. And just to have another point of interest, somebody up on those rocks, I'd probably get down low on the road itself to give greater presence to the actual person on the rock. And I'll also take in the lighthouse as well, and I'll post that shot, well, several of the shots just now. Okay? Right, I brought you down to the waterline to take a shot from this area. It's very slippery today because the tide is way out. We're talking about 40 to 50 meters from the actual tide line. I'm looking back, and it's I'll show you a clip of it, or even a shot of it in a minute. It's too far from the lighthouse today to be able to get any kind of action within the sea, and there's not a lot of action there, I have to say. It's a lovely calm day there, despite the fact that the wind is actually picking up somewhat, but the sea is still very calm. I'm struggling here just to even find my footing because the rocks are so jagged and there's plenty of seaweed. But if you are here and the tide is somewhat in, by using the actual the waterline and the coastline, you'll get a lovely lead-in line to the lighthouse. Unfortunately, I won't be able to show you a shot of that today, because when you travel 250 miles to do a shoot and to do a vlog, well, you just take what you get. I did, however, put up the drone and photographed the coastline from the air. In the distance, you can see the cloud-covered Mourne Mountains. then arrived at a derelict house which can be found a short distance away. Here I felt I could frame the lighthouse in what remains of the original windows in the dilapidated stone walls of the building. And so for my final set of shots, I decided to make use of the tide being out and to get some reflections of the lighthouse in the larger rock pools nearer the lighthouse itself. It takes a bit of searching to get a decent reflection, as the rocks and seaweed to be found in the pools can tend to obscure the reflections. I feel that this would work very well at the blue hour. That's the hour just before sunrise in the morning and just after sunset in the evening, when the light of the lighthouse would still be on. St. John's Point Lighthouse isn't ideal for black and white photography. In order to have a good black and white photograph, you will need definite black and definite white, and not 40 shades of grey, as too often you will find in so-called black and white photographs. The yellow bands don't make for definite white, and so lighthouses such as the Hook in Wexford, the Old Head of Kinsale in Cork, or Strove Lighthouse in Donegal look far better in black and white with their strong black and white bands. I have chosen the best 3 reflection shots that I took at St. John's Point Lighthouse to show you. So now I'm going to wrap this vlog up. Absolutely excellent location if you're thinking of going to take shots here at St. John's Point. For people living in the south of Ireland, it's a bit of a trip, but for those living in the north or in the Midlands or around Dublin, it's not too far. One thing I would say is if you have a camera, get out there. If you're anyway interested in landscape photography, travel, see different places. Not alone is it great to just be able to shoot, it's great to be out there, to be out in the open, to see fantastic scenes. You might not get them all the time, and certainly at the moment, even though we have a beautiful landscape around us, it's probably not at its best as the sun is quite high. Having said that, it could be an awful lot worse, it could be raining. The reason I'm doing this is so that when you maybe visit any one of the lighthouses, that you yourself might get an idea of different places to be able to shoot there, and I'm sure you can add an awful lot more as well. Please add some in the comment box below if you so wish. As I say, thank you very much for joining me. Just several things I want to say before I finish. If you are shooting by the sea, and particularly around lighthouses, it can be very dangerous. Not alone from your own point of view, but also from the gear that you carry. You're much more expensive and important than the gear, so mind yourself first and foremost, but also mind that gear as well. I know myself, a while back I donated a camera and a lens to the sea. There you go, over 2,000 gone. So I suppose I learned that lesson, but I'm just saying it to you. The sea is a different kettle of fish to anything else. If you leave it fall, it's obviously dangerous and you could damage your lens and camera. But once it hits the sea, no amount of drying, no amount of cleaning, the salt just gets in everywhere and the salt corrodes. You will get all kinds of advice on how to clean it out. I know I took it and unfortunately it didn't work. And several of my friends had similar accidents in the last couple of years. So just to be careful on that one. Again, thank you very much for joining me, and hopefully I'll see you again at our next location.